here we are at the Mercedes Museum, and I'm going to have a good time. This is the very first vehicle that was taken on a journey about 60 kilometers.
At his engine plant in Ladenberg, Carl Benz built the first automobile but had no idea of its commercial value. On an August morning in 1888, Bertha Benz and her two teenage sons set off to visit Grandma. Instead of boarding the train for the 60-mile trip to Pforzheim, she borrowed the car. And she wore a black dress along with hat pins and garters. During the journey, this very practical woman used the long pins to unlock fuel lines and her garters to insulate an ignition wire that had short-circuited. According to Winfried Seidel, the curator, she was an inventor in her own right. The wooden brake shoes wore down and lost their grip, so Bertha had the idea of getting a cobbler to nail on strips of leather. That was the first brake pad. As she approached Weissloch, she was practically out of fuel, and the early engines were fueled with Ligroin, a cleaning solvent sold at chemists. So Bertha topped it off at Weissloch's Stadt Apotheke, buying the pharmacy's last 3 liters. This is the world's first filling station, and it's still in business today. Every August, many of the cars in the museum and others tip their hat to Bertha and drive the Bertha Benz Trail. It's 60 miles to Pforzheim and 60 back. It's much easier today, as now there are roads instead of horse trails. Thank you, Bertha Benz.
Diane is in love with this car, and she's divorcing me and going to marry it.
Come in a little bit this way. Okay. Ready? 2, ready. Smile.
Smile.
Thank you. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Love it.
Hi, honey, you want to go for a ride? She's dead.
Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make it.
Yeah, that's Diane with her Uber driver.
There you go. Very first racing car, I guess.
Well, ask him to change the oil.
Change the oil, please. I'm ready to take it for a ride.
Yeah.
paper machine in Heidelberg, Germany. Pretty antiquated, given today everything is automatic, digital, and pretty much man-free. We're off to the castle. Let's get going.
The Heidelberg Castle houses a wonderful pharmacy museum, and in that museum there are displays that show specific plants and which drugs derive from them. There are hundreds of these displays if you have the time to do it, and it's really a magnificent show. Now it's on to Strahlenberg, the castle in Schriesheim, the castle with a view of the vineyards that cover the hills around Schriesheim and Heidelberg. If you ever have a chance to go there, don't pass up the great wine.
This is Weinheim, Germany, a little north of Dossenheim. We just had a wonderful lunch outside with Jeff and two of the girls, and now we're just exploring the town. Well, some of them are still eating ice cream. Burbeck Castle was built in 1109. The Palatine County seemed to rule this castle. It was built to protect the villages around here, several different villages, about 9 of them altogether. And now it is protected as part of the ruins of Weinheim. And we're going to go now and have a nice glass of beer in the beer garden.